We have been taught in movement and fitness to like go big or go home, right? If there's no pain, no gain kind of thing. And I call BS to all of that because time and time and time again, I pull clients back. We decrease our range of motion. We slow things way down because it starts to build not only trust within their body, so that their body, their brain, their nervous system, their fascial system starts to realize like, oh, I can move this way. And it's okay because I'm slowly nudging my body in that direction. Hey everyone, welcome to Core Connections, your health, fitness, and wellness podcast designed so you can take control of your health to live the active life you love. I'm your host, Erica Zeal, and for over 20 years now, I've been helping women live a healthier, active life pain-free. And if you're ready to say goodbye to those annoying aches and pains, incontinence, improved diastasis recti, then join me inside my core rehab program. So you too can experience the life-changing results thousands of others have and get back to living the active life you love free from pain. Not only do you get access to learn my exact techniques that have been changing lives every single day for many, many years now, you also get access to me during my monthly live group coaching call. Head on over to corerehabprogram.com to learn more. Again, that's corerehabprogram.com. And for those of you that are expecting, be sure to check out my prenatal program as well. And for any of my movement specialists, I'm just super excited that we are doing more with instructor training. It's always been a dream of mine. So if you are a personal trainer, Pilates instructor, yoga instructor, physical therapist, strength and conditioning coach, and so on, and interested in learning more about really what I teach, what we get such incredible results with, and those fundamentals, that would be starting off with my Core Athletica Level 1 instructor training course, which is 100% online. It is now available. We'll also be teaching Level 2 live this summer, so you guys can check that out. It's all on my website at ericazeal.com. Okay, you guys, today I'm really excited. I'm back with just a solo episode. I know it's been a while, but I love interviews as well. They're so great. And I've been inspired lately when I start to see kind of common themes coming up in clients. I'm like, okay, well, if I'm seeing it with my clients, I know it's happening for others as well. So I'm sure many of you listening are going to massively benefit from today's conversation. And probably I would say all of you will benefit to at least a little bit of a degree because so much of what holds us back from getting the results that we want is because of past experiences. So the other day I happened to see a quote, Joe Dispenza speaking about something, and he was talking about, his quote was, most people are always anticipating a worst case scenario based off of a past experience. And I think a lot of us are fairly aware of that, right? So much of our past is what has created the habits that we have today. Good, bad, indifferent. It doesn't matter. We don't need to judge them. But what we need to start to realize and be aware of, and that for me is the biggest piece in anything, you guys, especially when we're talking about pain and working on our body to move better, helping us to move away from pelvic floor dysfunction, aches and pains, and all of those types of things, right? Is just the awareness of what is going on in our body. And something I see time and time again with clients, especially those who have been in pain for quite a long time, right? Back pain, hip pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, like what you fill in the blank, whatever it is. Back pain's really common. So let's just kind of insert back pain as a common example here, but it could really be about anything. And so many times what has kind of kept that, well, there's multiple things here, but we're going to specifically talk about pain and the fear of movement today, because this is a big one I see for people. Like, again, we can have the right movement techniques, which I teach you guys in Core Rehab. We work on it at the studio, and we need that. We have to be learning the right movement techniques, the right breathing techniques. I would almost should probably flip-flop those. Breath, probably more important than the movement. The breath helps to facilitate our movement. So we need to really think of it in that order. But when we notice, right, we go to start to move and all of a sudden our body goes, I don't know. I don't know if I like this movement kind of thing, because you're back in the past, like it tightens up on you, or it's like, oh, I don't know, don't move that way because it could hurt you. When actually what we need to start tuning inward to is, are we actually experiencing pain? Or are we just fearful that pain could come out of these new breath techniques we're learning, this new movement practice that we're doing? So just an awareness piece. It's not a bad thing. It's definitely not a bad thing. It really is a piece of the picture I see, especially if you've been in pain for, I say a long time. For some of you, that could be 6 months. For some of you, that could be 6 years, 20 years. Like it's a very variable thing. But recognizing if fear is a piece of the picture for you, and the longer you've been in pain, I would definitely bet money on it that fear plays a role here. So what do we have to do here? We have to do a couple things. One is, when it comes to our movement, is we have to move very slow and very small movements. And those of you that have worked with me, done my core rehab program, you've heard me say time and time again, like, I want you barely moving, and I want you initiating that movement with your breath. I have to pull people way back from their movements all the time. We have, in our coaching calls I do, we have, this is like a common conversation that happens all the time, is I have people say, oh, well, if I do this movement, whatever it is, they're like, it just doesn't feel great for me. And I say, okay, but that should be a good movement for you. So what do we have to do? We need to pull your movement way back. Like, if I were to watch you move, you might barely be moving. And I know you feel that that's like doing nothing, but it's actually probably what your body needs to get over this hurdle and learn to trust in your body, trust in the movement, trust in the process too. So when we do this, and it's hard, we have to recognize, so many times we have been taught in movement and fitness to like go big or go home, right? If there's no pain, no gain kind of thing. And I call BS to all of that, because time and time and time again, I pull clients back. We decrease our range of motion. We slow things way down, because it starts to build not only trust within their body, so that their body, their brain, their nervous system, their fascial system starts to realize like, oh, I can move this way. And it's okay, because I'm slowly nudging my body in that direction. Notice I say nudging. We're not forcing our body. Forcing our body to try to do something we want it to do is really the absolute worst thing that we can do, especially if we have pain. Absolutely. It will cause your body to just seize up and tighten up on you. And that's what keeps a lot of people in pain. We have the end of the spectrum of not moving because we're fearful of movement and pain, or we're trying to force our body out of the pain, and it doesn't like that either. So this is that kind of middle road where we have to start to encourage your body to move better, but we have to do it in a way that is very nourishing. And this is why I love talking about movement in a way of being nourishing for your body, because that's what movement should be, you guys. We should never be using movement as a punishment or to burn those calories because you ate whatever it is. Like that, to me, that's not what movement is here for. Movement should be about improving your health, your mobility, your breath practice, that deep core function, that pelvic floor function, right? So when we're pulling our movement back and we recognize like, ooh, like we can use like a hip roll as an example, right? So everyone knows what a hip roll is. If you don't, sign up for my free pelvic floor guide. I teach you how to do pelvic tilts and hip rolls in there, because they are one of my favorites. They don't work initially for 100% of people, but for like 99% of you, they are a really great starting place of starting to wake up your pelvic floor, starting to get more articulation through your spine, feeling your deep core, starting to teach your body to trust in your body, right? And our movement can be really small. Sometimes when I have people working on that hip roll, we just do a pelvic tilt. Some people try a pelvic tilt and they're like, Eric, I can't even move my pelvis. Like it's so tight. Okay, great. That's where you're starting, right? We have to start and meet our body with where it is and slowly progress from there. Because here's the thing. if we're so tight and locked up in our back, in our pelvis, if we're tight in your back, you're locked up in your pelvis too, and we're keep forcing our movement or try to keep doing these bigger movements, all we're doing is our body is constantly cheating. And that is just going to set back our results time and time again. So it's this, I like to say the concept and idea of like slowing down to speed up. And as we start to move and we start to soften through our tissue, we start to wake up that pelvic floor, that deep core, all of that fascia through our torso. I like to use the cue to like gently lengthening up through your organs, because not only then are we activating like our abdominals a little bit, we're actually starting to wake up the fascia on the inside of our spine. So many times we think of like spinal health and just strengthening the muscles like right along the spine. Well, we need to think about strengthening from inside. Well, how do we do that? Well, the deep core stuff that I teach you guys to do, right? We learn to release and relax with our breath and release through our tissue. We learn how to lightly activate from that pelvic floor, thinking about that gentle lifting of our organs up through the top of our head, and start to have that visual practice of what do you want for your body? The more that we start to visualize where we want to be, where we're going, instead of like, ooh, that hurt. And then we stay stuck in those pain patterns. So we have to recognize that. And again, maybe we have to shift up what movement you're practicing. That's okay. But we've got to start somewhere. And more that I've been doing this work, I get more and more clients in core rehab saying, do more ball work. The teal ball that I have, you guys, it's just a really nice consistency of doing some gentle ball work against the wall. We roll from the side of our lower back around to those obliques. We roll around those ribs, and just the act of starting to really improve your breath and softening through our body, that's really a great thing from a movement perspective that we have to do to help us get out of pain, right? So we're softening our tissue, because so much of our tissue when we're in pain, it's just tight. Our nervous system is just in fight or flight all the time, and that fascial system is the same way. It's just like hanging on for dear life because it's lacking support in other areas of our body. So when we can learn to slow down, decrease our range of motion, focus on our breath, working on feeling some more expansion through our body with things like ball rolling, very gentle. I would start you guys all at the wall. I always start you guys at the wall, right? Because we want it to be gentle. Everything we do in the beginning of really working to help you get out of pain needs to be gentle. It should feel so nourishing and good for your body, because we need to start to train your brain and your nervous system that it is safe for you to move and really prove to your body, like, look, I can do these things and I don't have pain. Now, your range is not where we want it to be eventually, right? But in order to get to that fuller range of motion, so we can do life, up and down from the ground, doing squatting motion, rolling down and touching our toes, whatever it might be, right? All of those things in life, of the mobility movement we want to be doing that we should be able to do without pain, we have to back it off initially, build up that trust with your body, and then we slowly progress from there, okay? So some big takeaways here, you guys, is checking in with your movement. If you're dealing with pain, if you've been dealing with pain for a long time, or maybe you're having something new creep up, sometimes I'll see it with clients when we have really slowed down and we are progressing, and then they start overcorrecting their posture, for example. That's a really common one. So I'll explain this one to you guys, because especially if you're just listening, when we're sitting up or standing up, right, and I start really working on your posture and we're lifting up through our body. Now, if we're really tight in our rib cage and our thoracic cavity, we're kind of rounded forward and we're working to open up and lift, but then all of a sudden we start to overcorrect and we pull into our like lower middle back there. You can start to feel that starting to pull. So we have to check in with our body and that, have we overcorrected our movement? Because our body the tissue does not like to make big changes overnight. This is why like slow and steady wins the race, you guys. Slow and steady gives you amazing results. Consistency. That's why I teach this all the time. When I see clients, even when I see them one day a week at the studio, I'm like, do some of these little movements. We might do them on the equipment, but some of them you can do at home. Like pick one or two things, or do some ball rolling in between sessions, or those of you that are in core rehab. That's why I emphasize all the time, like consistency. Even if you don't have time to follow a whole video, do a whole movement, workout, that's okay. I want you to pick a movement or two that you do every single day once, one set, two sets, three times throughout your day. That's reminding your body that, oh, my deep core can lightly be connected. How am I breathing? How am I holding my body? Starting to build not only that better strength and breath practice for your body and improving your posture during your day, but you're building that trust within your body that it is safe to hold your body up taller. It is safe to breathe a little bit deeper. It is safe to let go of what we're really holding that tension into. Okay, you guys. So I hope this has been a good little reminder of some of these movement practices, especially, if you've just been like, I'm fearful of moving, like I encourage you to get started. Go slow. Those of you that are in core rehab, you guys hop on those coaching calls that Jen and I do. Those are so invaluable. Her and I can help to give you those extra little pieces that could just help get you over that little hump, whatever it might be. Sometimes it's a little mindset shift that we have to do. And in all honesty, I'd say for a lot of people, when we get stuck, that's really the bigger hurdle. It's not a physical piece. It's more of a mindset, nervous system thing that we need to work to rebalance. And then for others of you that may be feeling like, gosh, I am really getting so much stronger and I am able to do more movement, but we might hit those little, hurdles periodically as we're trying to ramp up our progressions. And sometimes we have to pull back for a little bit longer before we can move on. And it's this nice little like finesse. If we learn to work with our body, the sky is the limit, you guys. And it's so amazing. And I know sometimes we don't think of like mobility as something, especially for those of you that are a little younger, but I also work with a lot of people that have pain at a very young age. Mine started really young, right? So don't neglect how important it is to learn these fundamental movements, to learn how to connect better in your body, trust your body, breathe better, slow down your movements. And it just can benefit not only you physically, but mentally and so, so much more, you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in today. As always, please reach out to me if you have any questions. You can always find me on Instagram at Erica Zeal or reply to any of my emails that you guys may receive. If you do not yet have my free pelvic floor guide, I highly, highly recommend checking that out. It's got some really good nuggets to get you started in the right direction. No matter what stage of life you are in, or if you're pregnant, there's some really great stuff on there too. So that's all on my website, ericazeal.com. And share today's episode. It's nice and short and sweet, which is great sometimes, right? Share it with your friends so that they can get these little nuggets to help nudging them in the right direction. See if we can help you guys get out of pain and just keep looking forward to where you want to be in life with your body from a mobility perspective, so that you guys can really do those things in life that you love to do, keeping up with life. That's what we want. Movement is so important. So thanks you guys for tuning in, and I will see you back in 2 weeks.